Hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes,
Nah, it's better.
okay. All right. I'm discombobulated. Sorry. This is kind
We
of,
all are. Yeah.
I know, right? Before I get into the questions, I would just like to say, I grew up with you as a kid, and I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for agreeing to come on here and taking time out of your day to come
Oh, no
speak with
problem.
me, allowing me to ask you questions, and just being able to have the honor to just, be able to speak to you. And thank you so much, and it means the world to me.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Appreciate it. It means a lot to me, too. Oh.
All right. So my first question to you is, did you come from a family of entertainers?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Not a whole family. It's we always joked that my mother's tone deaf. Every time she used to sing, it's like, Mom. But my dad was in my. I was born in Canada, in a little town called Peterborough. My dad has a star on the Walk of Fame there. They were the first rock and roll band in the 50s in my hometown, and Dad was a drummer. And so, my grandmother, I also have a Welsh background, and all my Welsh relatives are, every time I tell them what I'm doing or they know what I'm doing, they in their wonderful Welsh accent say stuff like, "Well, it's because you're Welsh, then, isn't it? You come from Wales. That's where your family's from. They're all singers over there." And so, I suppose I do. And I got to be honest with you. I mean, I picked a profession where, for me, it's actually uncomfortable to be a center of attention for anything. I like to hide behind, this thing a lot of times. But when I look at old home movies and pictures when I was younger, I was always in the background doing this to my sister. Like, I always wanted to be the center of attention. So I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. That's a pretty cool background. What is your earliest memory of doing voices, like of characters or making your own noises?
Oh, God. I used to get in trouble for doing that, and it was in grade school. I was in the second grade, and I remember getting sent, because I would mimic voices and mimic the teacher, and I would get sent out. And I would see Mr. Rose. He was the janitor at our school, and he'd always come by, sweeping like, "In trouble again, are you, David?" All right, and then many years later, when I was 9, I got a tape recorder for Christmas, and
You young kids don't remember the tape recorder, do you? It's an old machine with a red button on it.
Yeah, and cassette tapes, and I used to record the radio station, and they would be playing music, and then I would turn the disc jockey down, and I would, at 9 years old, I would talk instead of him. And my mother still has that cassette somewhere at home of me on there doing that. So, yeah, it was I would mimic a lot. I really honestly didn't know that I could even do cartoons. I didn't even exist until I moved to Vancouver, and I was still doing radio at the time out there, and I started doing voices on the morning show. Voices like, characters like, one was Cowboy Dick, and he'd come in and, "Howdy, boys and girls," and I'd make a song up or something. And then an agent got a hold of me somehow out there. Name was Ross Rhodes, my first agent. I took this commercial modeling course, and I didn't even know what I was doing, because I had all day long. I was on the radio in the morning, and I had all day long to do whatever I wanted. So I took this course, and the modeling was kind of weird, but the learning lines for commercials was I kind of dug that. And he called me one day and said, "Can you do voices?" And I said, "Yeah." "Well, whatever that means." He goes, "Well, there's an audition for G.I. Joe." And I go, "You mean like the cartoon?" He goes, "Yeah." "Well, really? Like what?" And he said, "Well, I got the sides. I'll send you the sides." And I remember looking at them. I go, "Holy crap! These are cartoons." I didn't even know they were done up in Vancouver at that time was Deke Animation, and I went red for a bunch of characters, and I got called back for General Hawk, and ended up booking it, and I had no idea what I was doing, but that was the long answer about how I've the first voices, like yo Joe, whatever. That was it. I think my toy is in here somewhere. Yeah.
Do you have all the toys of the characters you voiced?
Yeah, I got stuff up. I get this thing on the thing, but a lot of the I'll take this off for a second. So the studio. So I have.
That's my ode to Rob Paulson right there. Yakko, wacko, and dot. That's my good friend Rob Paulson.
But I got some of the stuff that I voiced. There's Vision. I did do Iron Man a while back. There's all the Beast Wars and Sashomaru's up there, and from Ben 10. So I have a ton of stuff in the garage actually in boxes that we got to go through because we just did an attic that we can actually store stuff, and I have some really cool toys on it. But I do keep some of the ones in here that I've done in the past. Oh, yeah, here's one here. I love this statue. And when they did the Ratchet and Clank movie, there's the two of us, as James and I, of a Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. So love the toys.
I do too. I still collect them. Y'all can call me childish in the comments all you want.
No!
Not you. I'm talking about, my friends who like to post fun.
Want to see my first toy? My first toy was that.
That was mine too. Let me know.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello? Anyone?
Yeah, that was my first toy. Right there. My mother sent that to me.
That's crazy that you still have my first toy. All my first toys like broken or eaten. Because I was a little kid, I have I always tell this funny story whenever I get the chance. I had a Devastator action figure from Revenge of the Fallen, the movie that came out.
Yeah.
And I played with it, and I bit its arms off and ripped it. Because when I was a little kid, I bite Spider-Man's head off or rip Venom's arm off and throw it. And now that Devastator action figure is $300, so I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Again.
I know.
So,
I'm with you on that. A lot of those great old toys, man. I don't know whatever happened to them, but they're long gone. Oh, I got this too. And the only thing I was allowed to take from SpaceX is the SpaceX coffee cup. We had a tour of that place. That was no pictures, no anything, but I got a coffee cup from SpaceX. That's all I have from them.
That's so cool. The main reason I wanted to speak to you was because I was looking for Transformers voice actors to interview, and I was like, I grew up with Transformers animated. Who did that amazing voice that I grew up with as Optimus Prime as a kid? And it was you, David Kaye.
Yeah, let me get this down then. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to ask, how does it feel to be able to say you have voiced two of the most iconic not action figures? I was looking at the toy. Two of the most iconic characters in sci-fi history.
It's strange. I don't think about it much, but
bring it on. My name is Optimus Prime.
Yeah, I love that toy. It was because when I started, when I auditioned, I guess it was back in the early 90s before when Beast Wars came out. Because I never saw the original G1. I was all into Bugs Bunny and Tex Avery and all the goofy cartoons. And I didn't really, I did watch. I remember G.I. Joe being on, the old version of G.I. Joe, and I came up with a voice for that character, and they somehow bought it. I mean, when I went in for the callback, I remember going, "Geez, I don't know what I'm going to do." I had the script. I'm thinking, and it wasn't until I got behind the mic when I just sort of. The analogy is Anthony Hopkins, the actor, and Sean Connery, who we just lost recently. If it was, and cross them with a lizard, what would that be? And so I kind of came up with a voice, and yes, excellent. In here, Shakespearean, this thing, and they bought it, and it's amazing. I didn't really know how huge it was until I went to the convention in Rochester, New York, and saw the fans and how crazy they were for it. And when this came around, the opportunity on animated, I knew Sue Blue was directing, and I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I said, I'd love to come in and read for this, and I went in, and of course I read for Megatron, and I thought, oh, here we go, the old team.
Here we go again, yeah.
And little did I know that they would ask me. I read for them there. We were having a good time, and she said, "Hey, listen, come on out. I want you to read for Optimus." The sides are on the table. Just go and practice, and we'll bring you back in. I go, well, okay. So I did that, and I remember going in and reading for Optimus, and they were kind of looking for I don't know, like a Tom Hanksy, a young, so they hadn't really found what they're looking for, I suppose. And I just started kind of using my own voice and making it a little younger in that. And I knew they were talking in behind the glass, and they were all, doing this, like, and I got a call, I guess about a month later, and gave me the news. But I didn't realize that the gravity of having voiced in one of each characters. But it's pretty cool, to tell you the truth. I got both. I got them both here. I get to play with both of these toys.
Nice. Have you gotten the opportunity to meet Peter Cullen and Frank Welker?
Oh yeah, Peter lives not too far. Peter lives around here somewhere. I was in the drugstore. I don't know, 6-7. Well, it was before COVID, so it'll be maybe almost a year ago. And I was getting a greeting card or something, and I saw this gentleman on his head walking down the other side. I go, Peter. He goes, oh, David. And I said, hey, what? Anyway, I met Peter a few times. He's a really great guy. So it's just humble and wonderful, and I always thought, that he's going to hate me. He's not going to talk to me. But we ended up, Frank Welker and I and him worked on a couple episodes. I was brought in on TF Prime, yeah. And Odd Show, the voice was here. It was sort of he was an insecticide. I tried to keep him away from, I wanted him to be, I was thinking Predacon in my mind, but I went in and kind of did this with it. I saw the picture of his mandibles, and this hot shot, this and here. And that's how I came up with a voice. And so I forgot, they liked it, but I forgot when I went in to do the role, I had to talk like this and squeeze my cheeks. And it still hurts. But it was kind of cool because Frank and I and Peter were in that same episode. And it's like a black hole's going to open up and we're all going to spin out of control. And it was really neat.
That's awesome that you got to meet those two people. Who else did you audition for? Now let's go to Beast Wars. Who else did you audition for? Was it just Megatron, or how did that work?
No, I auditioned for Optimus Prime as well, and I can't remember, maybe some other characters. I remember because on the callback I was brought in to read for both Optimus and Megatron. So that was kind of neat. And I don't remember what I even did for Optimus Prime. Maybe just my own voice or something. I can't even remember. But they did have me read both when they brought me back in. So, and Gary does a much better job than, he's a perfect Prime.
Did a great job during Beast Wars. I don't know if you heard about these rumors going around. It's been going on for a long time, since I want to say 2018. They've been talking about potentially making a Beast Wars movie. Have you heard anything about that, or is that?
Yeah, just like you, just rumors and stuff. And the way Hollywood works, of course, if that ever happened, it'd be awesome to be given a chance. But this place is like full of celebrities, so and who's David Kaye? But they'll do what they do, I suppose. But sure, it'd be awesome to be asked to come in and do something if that's what's happening. But we don't know. No,
if you're given the opportunity to do Megatron for a potential live action movie, would you do anything different with his voice, or just do it the same you did in the cartoon?
It's hard to say because I was younger, back then, and I always think that I could add, just with the experience I had doing stuff, there's things that I could add to it, and that would of course depend on the direction from the director, but it would be certainly fun to do those lines again, knowing what I know now.
Why? Now let's go to Transformers Animated, another series that I love so dearly. So why did it not continue? What happened there? Because I know I don't know.
I'm one of those actors that doesn't ask a lot of questions. I just show up and I'm oblivious. Like, oh, it's doing a show. I'm just happy to be in the room. But from what I understand, the movie was coming out, and a lot of these shows are made to sell toys and properties and cross platforms and stuff, and I think they wanted to focus on the movie, and I think that means they would have had like 2 toys coming. So something to do with the toys, something to do with whatever decisions is beyond me, because I have no idea. I know they had things ready to roll. I know they had script outlines. Marty Eisenberg and the crew, and Derek Wyatt had character designs and it all. They were all ready to roll, and I would love to see it happen. Just not be, obviously as a fan, but for my friends and those people that we wanted to see it through till its conclusion. And that would have been a season 4, I suppose. But in this business, again, never say never. You don't know what sort of they're planning.
Yeah, I was about to say Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which you also did a voice for on as like General Tarkin. That came back, so you never know what could happen. There's canceled shows coming back all the time, so there's always a possibility for Transformers. I would love to see that too. I would love to hear you as a Optimus Prime again, maybe make him older, or do something.
Yeah,
like that.
do something different. And I know that it took about, I'd say for all of us, especially me, I can't speak for everybody else, but 5 or 6 episodes of recording in, I kind of started to feel comfortable with the character, and so by the second season, third season, and fourth, we were all gelling. You're like a team in there, and things just kind of we know each other, and the rhythm. It's like jazz, it starts to work really well. So I really wanted it to continue because there's just such a good vibe in the studio with everybody.
What did you learn from Transformers Animated, or what did you gain from being on that show?
Again, well, subtleties, I guess. The good. I mean, with Megatron, the character is very Shakespearean. If I do this, this will happen. If I do this, that will happen. But what if I do? It's internal debate, right? And the good guy. I mean, it's subtleties, and it's. I thought, oh well, I'm just going to be. Hey, transform and roll out. But there's a lot of different subtleties in being a guy who's trying to, do good things. So it taught me more subtlety when playing, a lead good guy character. It also taught me as well that, see, when I started back in the day in Vancouver, you would get a breakdown of the characters, and it would say something like, oh, so-and-so, or a new character. And they might give a Hollywood reference to somebody, who, and one day I looked at the script and I'm like, Weird Al Yankovic. Oh, somebody, they're going to get someone who sounds like Weird Al. And I walk in the studio and turn around the corner and go, hey, Weird. I mean, Al. I'm sorry. I don't know. If I forget, I called him Weird. I go, Weird, Al. That's weird. And you forget that they live here. And so we had some amazing people come in on the show. Fred Willard, who passed away not too long ago, a giant of the comedy world, and this a nice man, came in, and we had all kinds of cool guest stars come in on that show. So one thing I learned doing that show is, oh yes, they actually live here and they can actually be on the show. Yeah.
I know y'all got like Jude Nelson back as Rodimus Prime.
Yeah, Judd came in. Yep.
That must have been awesome.
It was cool.
Let's speak on a show that recently, not too long ago, just turned 20 years old, X-Men Evolution. You played Professor Xavier. Now, was Professor Xavier the main person you wanted to go for, or was there some of your auditioned for and it felt like a better fit for Professor?
No, he was the only one I had my eyes on when that breakdown came out, and I can't remember who told me, but they said, hey, they really like Patrick Stewart, and they're big fans of Patrick Stewart, and I go, well. Because he was my voice, my timbre is in the same sort of range. So it was easy for me to work on his voice. And I just, it was an older man. It was in this way. And Kitty, we must find Logan. And I was very relaxed, and I was coming. The voice is from here and back in my throat, tea, hot, Earl Grey. I mean, I was, I was able to, to get there with him. And I did the best I could. And they bought it. And I think that was one of the first times I worked with Matt Youngberg, who I ended up working with down here on a bunch of stuff. And, just recently did DuckTales with him. He's running that show. And that was the first when he was a junior. And yeah, that was a thrill. And that was a fun cast, man. That was such a great show to work on up there. Now that was recorded at Ocean Studios in Vancouver before I emigrated to the U.S. So that was fun.
What's your favorite Professor X story arc?
Favorite one? I remember I had some heavy lifting that day. Who was there was a big, it was near the finale. It was for crying out loud. Where he was, yes, he was with Apocalypse, and I believe that was a two-parter. I remember that a lot, because I was talking to myself back and forth some of the times. And I love that whole arc, and that's when it's near the end of the series. Things that you're starting to think, this is going to be great. Oh yeah, right, it's over. Yeah, I loved all the stories, but that one particular for me was kind of cool because I'm a fan of Avengers as well. One of the earliest comic books I bought was Iron Man. I had Iron Man 3 at one time, I remember, and I had early Avengers. Like I had a couple of early issues of original Avengers. So I was a fan of Marvel, like way back.
I was about to ask you, what was your history with Marvel? Like the X-Men? Did you have any X-Men comics? You watched the movies?
Oh, tons. Yeah, I had all the comics. I had all the movies, all the stuff. The coolest thing for me was, guess it was a year ago now, before Stan Lee passed on, that I had never met Stan. A lot of my friends would go, "Oh yeah, I met Stan." I go, "Well, I never met Stan. How can I get to meet Stan?" And anyways, when working on this show, Avengers Assemble, there's Vision, and I was playing Jarvis at the time, and I was also playing. In this it was Vision, and I was also playing. What's his name?
Corvus.
Oh, the bad guy.
With the scythe.
Yeah, what's his name is
Corvus Glaive. He was in Infinity
No,
War.
not Corvus Glaive. I did play him in there as well. But I'm having a mental block. The German guy. Somebody help me.
Yeah. The German guy.
Yeah, he's talk like this all the time. Avengers, it's
Zemo.
Yes, thank you.
There we go.
Oh,
yes.
see, I'm getting old, man. It's a great, but Baron von Simo. So Baron von Simo, and so we were brought in one day, and little did I know, Harrison Wilcox on the show said, "Hey, I got a surprise for you, because I know you talked about you haven't met Stan Lee before. Well, Stan's here today." I go, "What?" And you know who else was on the show? That was Mark Hamill was on a few of the episodes. So I show up on this Hamill. I'd worked with Hamill on regular show. I did the giant baby. Yes, we must have cake. And Hamill was, of course, Skips. And I always like to do my imitation of Mark Hamill as Skips, because I loved him as Skips, And it was always the same every episode in the regular show. He said, "What are you guys doing? You're gonna blow up the universe." And Mark was so great. And then he's there that day, and Stan Lee's there that day, and we all got together and we met each other. And I walked in, and there's Stan Lee sitting on his chair, and the director, Colette Sunderman, brings me over and says, "Stan, this is Baron von Zemo and Vision." And he goes, "Oh, very nice to meet you." And I say, "Yes, David Kaye, sir." I'm like shaking, And he says, "Baron von Zemo, how does he sound? Give me a little Baron von Zemo." And I said, "Well, I'm going to die soon. It's my episode to die. I must." And I did something. And he said, "Very good, very good. Yes, sounds good. A pleasure to meet." And Stan was great, And I remember the episode he was in, because he's in, his 90s. The font for the script was that big, it was huge font. He had because his eyesight, you know. And when he left, and we're all in there reminiscing, and it was Mark Hamill's birthday that day, and somebody made a comment about, hey, did you see the size of the font on Stan's script? And Mark says, hey, we should all be so lucky to have font that big. You know, is saying that one day we're going to be at that age and be able to, you know, be on a cartoon, and so that was a pretty magical moment in Marveldom for me.
I think it's everyone's dream to like meet Stan Lee, rest in peace. Man,
Oh man,
yeah, I would love to meet him. That's everyone's dream.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know as a voice actor, you know, you've done so much stuff in Transformers animated. I just want to talk real quick, you know, switch it over to Ben 10. You have voiced dozens of characters in Ben 10, like dozens of aliens, dozens in Transformers animated, Grimlock, Warpath, and Ben 10 you did Heat Blast, and there's all these characters. What's the... Oh, nice. Yeah, that what's his name? I can't remember.
Yeah, Kyber the Huntsman. His name is Kyber. I used to be a South African accent on him. Yeah.
What is the challenge of coming up with dozens of voices for these characters?
Well, on that show, this is Omniverse before I was cast as Grandpa Max in the new Ben 10 stuff. I had a bunch of aliens. Frankenstrike was my one. Skurd. Oh, hello, dear boy. I don't know. I played with a voice on that, but it's when they bring you in on a show. You need to be able to have multiple voices in your pocket, especially on a show like that, because there's so many aliens. They need the actors to be able to bring 2 or 3 or 4 different characters to life on that show. You take a look at the character. They'll give you a drawing. One of them was it Shock Squatch? Socks?
Yes, I think so.
It was based on my Uncle Terry. Because I looked at the drawing of him, and it looks like my Uncle Terry, and I gave him a Canadian accent for my old home and native land, and I said, "All right, you guys, hey, come on over at the pool there, right?" I was just screwing around, and Derek Wyatt and so they went, "Hey, yeah, do that." So I did the Shock Squatch after my Uncle Terry there with a Canadian accent, and so it's a lot of these voices come from people you've heard or people you know from your childhood. Depends on how big they are or how small they are. Excuse me. And so for this, and for example, for Kyber the Huntsman, I loved him because he was very calm. I'd never really done a South African. I kind of did a sort of South African or an Australian hybrid. I try to keep him South African.
But he talked like, he was very like this, very calm. Ben Tennyson, I'm going to get you, Ben Tennyson, the last thing I do.
And it was all from the throat. So I don't know. It's you kind of look at it and you start coming up with ideas. But I got to tell everybody that it's okay to come up with a voice, but don't forget that voice has to have a heart and a soul. It has to be a being, like a living, breathing being. It just can't be a voice. It's got to have feelings and know how to laugh and know how to cry, and it's got to have all that. You have to give it a soul. I always say a heart and a soul.
I guess that'd be your advice to upcoming voice actors. Like,
yes.
Hey, I wanna try to get into voice acting, but I just feel I don't know. I don't want to make it about me, or just real quick I'll talk about it.
Well, it's about you. Your voice. That's what's going to get you the gig. It's your personality. It's who you are. You have a heart and soul, and you're the real deal. I mean, that's going to be, what's going to get you the gig, and then you start branching out into all these other little things. But the most important part is to feel comfortable with who you are and breathe that life into that character.
That's so cool. Yeah, I really would like to do it one day. I've been working on this creature voice. My brother was roasting me about it. He was like, it's okay. You can do better. I was like, dang, okay. Well, I guess I'll just do something else.
That's where it starts, man. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite Ben 10 alien that you voiced?
Well, I do. I mean, he was an alien. I mean, I love Kyber. I think probably. Oh gosh, there's a ton of them. Frankenstrike was kind of cool. I liked Skurd. He was weird. It's based on an old Swiss Family, or was it Family Robinson, the old space series. I don't know what you're doing here, but you need to leave right away. Ben Tennyson, I'm mad at you. You know, it's based on a character that it was so fun to do that because, I mean, that show was around before I was born. You know, one of those old black and white shows, and I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of those old shows before I was born. Twilight Zone. There's some great characters on the old Twilight Zone, the Rod Serling one, if you've ever seen it. So don't be afraid to go back and watch this old stuff because there's amazing characters and amazing voices in there, and that's where a lot of the stuff comes from. But yeah, those two were, I mean, I had a lot of fun doing them all, but Skirt was a lot of fun. It's just throw back to my childhood. There's a rhythm to it, and I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. I have a couple more questions. I know that you got other stuff to do, so thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
A couple more questions. I want to talk about Vandal Savage. Now, I know.
Oh yeah.
For Young Justice, he got a role for season 3, right? Of Vandal Savage, because the voice actor sadly passed away and couldn't continue.
Yeah, Miguel Ferrer, man, he was a giant, and it's really tough to come in and do that when someone has passed on because you cannot you cannot fill those shoes. All you can do is try and do him justice, make him proud, you know. And because the show has to go on, so you got, you know, and again, I was in a similar ballpark. He's down in here, so a lot of the voice comes from this area. Like he's powerful but quiet, but there's a power to that voice, and it's this area. And when you talk, you can feel the air pushing here. So when he did a lot of movie trailers too. And I just love his voice. And in a world, not like Fontaine, but it was a quiet intensity. And I remember when I went in to read for the character, and they brought me back in, and they would play some of his dialogue. And I remember that 50,000 years of life, the Justice League. You know, it was just down. My voice is a bit thrashed today, by the way. But it's all from here. If you can hear that, it's all this area. But I just remember that 50,000 years of life, and it was so wonderful. It's and he an icon, man. I was fortunate, I'll tell you that.
Well, you answered my question because I was gonna ask, like, how was it coming in to like do his voice? Because I know he passed. So what's it like coming in to do his voice and try to? Because he did a great job.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, is what it is. But you know, his spirit lives on, and that was sort of my job, is to make sure that, you know, he's still around, and the fans and people, fans of the show, don't get. My goal was I don't want somebody watching to go, you know. I remember when they changed the voice of Barney Rubble way back when the Fred Flintstones, and everyone, whoa. What? That's not Barney Rubble. You know, I didn't want that to happen. And so I just tried to honor him as best I could.
You did an amazing job. And
thank you.
You did really, really well with that. And,
that show is so deep. That is a deep show. I'm just reading the scripts, you know, before we used to record. I'm like, this is awesome. You know, it's like, wow. Yeah, I loved going in and doing stuff for that, man.
I know season 4 is coming out eventually. I know you can't talk too much about it, but are you involved with that at all? Or you?
I don't know yet, and I don't know, and I can't really mention too much anyway. Even if I could tell you, I couldn't.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
One last one we're going to talk about. You did Clank. You are the amazing voice of Clank.
Clank. Where is he? Can I take him out? There I can. Yeah. There he is. Now, in his case,
when I remember getting the audition for this, it's been 15 years now. There was a paragraph that came in. It was like a small paragraph. Transformers had a giant bunch of pages with pictures and relationships with these characters, and, you know, on and on and on. I had a paragraph come in. It was like that basically said, Clank. He's a robot, but we want him to have a personality. So it was a fine, you know, razor's edge to walk. And I kind of put my headphones on, and I decided to wear my headphones. I always have, because I can hear the real me instead of listening to me. And I just sort of started talking, and instead of saying can't, I would say cannot, because that's the robot part.
But I try to give him a personality. I try to make him have feelings, that he has a heart.
And I kept thinking of, when I was doing it, I kept thinking of the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. That's sort of where the inspiration came from. And I had no idea what he looked like.
But I just started talking like this. If my head is doing this,
I'm doing it properly. And when I used to go in and record the games, the engineer would say, your head's not moving. I go, oh yeah, hang on a second.
And I would start talking like this.
And he goes, there you are, there he is. And so I end up having a sore neck and a headache after, if I know I've done it right, if I have a sore neck and a headache. So,
I know.
Yeah, that new game is coming out. Let's see.
Oh, I dropped his arm. Hold the precious.
No, the new game is coming out, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I've seen snippets, and boy, does it ever look good.
I know the graphics are looking amazing for that.
Wow.
Game. Yeah. What have you done differently this time around? What is they done differently that you're excited for fans to see?
Well, I haven't done any. I've just try to keep clanking where he's always been. But I can't talk too much about what it is that you're going to see. But I just know that it's a deep, deep world, and you're going to really enjoy it.
Can't wait to see it. All right,
yeah.
So this is a big section we got going on. This is the section that's called Weird and Wacky, where I ask you weird and wacky questions, and you have 1 minute.
Uh-oh.
Have 1 minute to answer them. You have to answer them as best as possible. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, I'm about to start the timer in 3, 2, 1. If you had to smell like one smell for the rest of your life, what would you smell like?
California jasmine.
What's the longest time period you've gone without taking a shower?
12 hours.
What's the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Weirdest. Come on. Sea anemone.
Weirdest drink you've ever drunk?
Ribena.
Weirdest vacation you've ever been on?
Wasn't weird, but it was so cool. Russia.
Character you're most well known for?
Megatron. And Sesshomaru.
Favorite version of Megatron? 10 seconds.
Original.
And the last wacky question, if you had to have a superpower, what superpower would you have?
God. To fly.
Fly?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, David, for being on. It was such an honor to be able to speak to one of my favorite voice actors of all time.
Oh, and don't forget, man. Yashihime. Sesshomaru's back, and we got some of the original cast coming back for Yashihime, the continuation of Yasha. So that's watch for that. Hang on a second.
Terroride, no, side gun. Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yes, and yes. Yeah,
Shout out to the amazing David Kaye. Would you like to plug anything real quick before you leave? Like your social media? What can they find?
Yes, I see Richard Ian Cox is back. That has been announced. It's up on social media. So there's a bunch of us. Yashihime premieres today at 3. Is that 3 a.m. on Crunchyroll?
3 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, is it on Crunchyroll? That's very cool. Other plugs. Ratchet & Clank is coming out. There's some great announcements coming out that I can't talk to you about. Some major news. You'll hear me on some of the some NFL football stuff Thursdays and Sundays. Some weird promos. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and I just want to tell everybody to just hang in there. It's been quite a freaking 2020.
Exactly.
I don't know what else to say. It hasn't been said before, but I'm getting real tired of saying unprecedented. So if we could say other stuff like I've dubbed the new term this year as we're still counting. So if somebody asks you how you are, you say, I'm still counting. So that's it. So good luck, everyone. Please be safe and be well. And hopefully one day we'll get back to doing the conventions and we can see you all there.
Awesome, David. I hope to do this again one day when you announce your stuff. And thank you so much. Have a great one,
Awesome,
David.
man. Anytime. Lots of fun.
Soon. Awesome.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
You got
Bye.
it.
Have a great
Bye.
day.
You too.